Oh, good morning, everybody. Oh, I've got my earplugs in and I can't really hear. Now that light rain, I couldn't hear. It's not a heavy rain, it's kind of a light persistent rain, and I couldn't hear that. And it's been quite breezy, and I must admit they've blocked out most of the wind noise. Oh. Oh God. Oh. 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 Well. Oh God, it sounds not very nice. Now the forecast was for maybe about 12 o'clock. 1 o'clock it would ease off. We will see whether it does or not. Oh, that's one person and a couple of dogs. Lassie! That's almost certainly the first person. Oops. Lassie! That's Lassie barking at someone and their dog. It's strange. So that's one of those. I must have been so tired. The other one must be I don't know where the other one is. Oh, it'll turn up. Oh. Well, at least the wind is still blowing that way for a very short while in the night. A very short while. The wind was blowing away. Not very much. You can tell from the weather station which way it's blowing. Yeah, it's still mostly blowing that way. Lassie! So I just put this up in the door just as a little extra protection. You can see the weather. The weather outside is not snowing. Quite unpleasant, but it's blowing away. It's not coming in the door now, thankfully. I woke up about, I don't know, about 5 o'clock, and there was a few spits of rain down through here and a couple along here. It was almost like that the high point had somehow, and maybe the angle that the wind had blown during the night, and there was just a few spits of rain just down here. It really wasn't very much. You can even still see a few specks there. It was very, very little, and it didn't really warrant the door needing to go up, but that I wanted to put my head back down without worrying about whether more rain might come in. I just put that kilt up. It's very useful for that. So it's now 10 o'clock and I've just woken up, so it's a little bit later than I'd anticipated and planned today, because I really want to try and get going. I've got to walk back to the car and then obviously drive home. That's the water that we've got left. I thought I had more than that. Well, I'll start off with a tea. Alright, let's get the kettle on. And let's hope that the forecast is right about the rain easing off. Lunchtime in this afternoon. Okay, well, I think while the kettle's doing its stuff, I ought to start putting away a few things. This is actually the bit that I hate the most about camping, and that's having to pack up. Even when you're out here for 3 days and you don't, or 3 nights and you don't have to move, you still eventually do. I found the other ear, and when you're out for 3 days, it's surprising how much waste you collect, because you think you're going to go back with an emptier pack than when you came out, but by the time you've and it will be a little bit less, but by the time you collected up all your rubbish and put it inside a rubbish bag like this, that's literally just, you know, wrappers and food containers and things like that for 3 days. That's all that is. It's surprising. It mounts up. While I'm waiting for that kettle to boil, the other thing I can get on and do is put my down jacket. I've got this stuff sack here, and I'll put my down jacket away. That I can carry on and do. So horrible out. It's been a really quite an unpleasant few days of weather up here, I must admit, and I'm not in the least bit sorry that I stayed put and didn't move. When it's really not so nice weather like this, it pays to try and get as much done as you possibly can before, you know, getting out of the sleeping bag. So obviously now we're just going to have to make sure that we eat. And annoyingly, the one thing that did get slightly damp in the night are my gloves. So I'm just going to wear these now. They're not very damp, just I think I had put them along here, just kind of safe and out the way. But in the process of putting them, so because they're not very, very damp, I think I'm going to put them, wear these, and put some under my body. That will dry them out, because they're not soaking wet. I think what I do is I'm going to put those, I think those gloves might dry off better if I put them between my sides. So, let's make some tea. Right, the next tea that we make, we'll make water for tea and for porridge. Oh, this is so relaxing. I don't know why people all rush up and get going first thing the next morning. Mind you, I've never been a morning person at any time. Oh, it's hot. Okay, well, I've had a quick look at the weather station. So the temperature at the moment is about 5 degrees. The coldest temperature we had was around about 0. The coldest wind chill we had was about 8 o'clock last night, -3, because it was a clear sky at that time. And the wind hasn't changed, so the wind never went higher than 28 or 29, presumably from 2 days ago. But the average has stayed fairly consistent at around about 12 miles an hour. Okay, well, it's 12:15 nearly, and it still hasn't really stopped raining. The forecast has it easing off at some point in the afternoon, but the forecast I'm looking at is a few days old. So I'm gonna have to grim and bear it and go for it, I think, in a minute. So basically what I've done is I've even put my tea pot away. I put sort of bits and bobs in that bag there, power packs in there, weather station in there, or one spare meal in there which I didn't eat, my down jacket in there, hat and gloves in there, but I've got other hat and gloves out. And then over here is just my nighttime stuff. So basically now my sleeping bag, night socks and night leggings will go in there. And then it's my pack around here, and obviously my waterproof jacket, which I will put on and most likely have to put on. And most likely have to put on my waterproof trousers as well, unless it stops raining in the next sort of 20 minutes or so. Other than that, pretty much everything that I've got on here. I might take the wind shirt off and just pack that later, and then just, you know, then just wear the waterproof over the top. We'll kind of see. But it's kind of now, this is why I like to have a foam mat with me, because obviously the ground's going to be cold, but I can do pretty much everything barefoot on the foam mat. And then I can put my socks on, which are damp, unfortunately, which is a little bit annoying. So I can put them on after I've done quite a bit. So I think my feet won't get too cold too quickly. So the bit that's going to take the longest, and the bit that's probably the most tricky, difficult bit to do, is to get the air mat, which is effectively my back system, and this bag sort of back to back in the rucksack. That's the one thing that you know, the rucksack is not the biggest. It fits in, but it's quite tight getting that in. So it might even be easing up a little bit out there now, maybe, hopefully. There's a couple of things that you can do when you're still kind of like snuggled up in your sleeping bag. If you've got a ground sheet, what you can do, and it doesn't really save much time, but it you know, it does save a few seconds, and that's just, let's see, go back. Take out all of your pegs that are holding the ground sheet in. This is the by far and away the worst part, and that's getting out of your warm sleeping bag. Oh, I've got a shirt there. I'll take that shirt out. All right. And if you can kind of try and get your sleeping bag sort of scrunched up between your legs a little bit, kind of like that. And then when you thread it into the stuff sack, it's already partly squished in. You know, I think you get what I mean. Inflate, deflate. We'll get this airbed deflated. So get your nighttime stuff squished as much as you can, and then you see the nighttime bag, it literally is the same size as the opening to the pack. So I need to bring my airbed to the entrance of the pack. This is where I must admit I do wish that this Exodus pack, because this is the Exodus, so it's a little bit longer than the Prophet in the MLD lineup, but they're the same. They're the same width. It's not at the bottom yet. Hang on, I may have to. The beauty of a shelter that you can sit up in as well. It's near the bottom, it just needs a little bit more coaxing. Right, that's close to the bottom now. And then once you've had your little fight, then you just want to give your airbed a little bit of a pull, just to make sure that it's just above shoulder height. So you can see where the shoulders are there, that line there. So it's just above that, so that's about perfect. And then you quite simply put your light stuff at the bottom. Heavy stuff you want to put near your back, as close to your back as possible. So we put power packs in because they're like quite heavy, so they're up against the back. Other bits and bobs that had some weight are next to them, and of course it's a frameless pack, but that sleeping pad and basically loading everything in so it's like a really firm sausage, as it were, is what acts as your back frame. So you don't need a back frame, you've just literally made your own back frame. Fingers are definitely cooling off now. Now at this point I will do it up, but I've probably, oh yeah, my shirt, I can go in. Funnily enough, I haven't put my socks on yet, and my feet are warmer than my hands. that's everything for now. Now then, in Lass's pack, there's not very much to go in here. I will need her lead near the surface. Now I'm just going to put that fuel bottles in. 2 of them are empty. 1 of them has got virtually nothing in. My cup. So this, I must admit, this is kind of handy when you've got a dog and you've just got a few. That's Lass's bad. You know, clearly those few tiny little bits. That's my GoPro 10. Can go in there. Lass's food and water bowl, which I didn't use this trip at all. There's water literally just down there, so she was able to go and get her own water. I never bother putting her food in a bowl because she always just tips the bowl up. So there is just no point in putting that. I've just put my kilt in there. Like I said, it's just, her pack's handy sometimes just for putting little knickknacks in and things like that. That's my phone, other phone. I should put my hat on. So we're doing everything sitting on this foam mat here, and that is helping to keep my feet off the ground and therefore, of course, warm, or at least not too cold. I think we'll put my coat on at this point because it's going to need to go on. Lassie, come back. It's going to need to go on it sooner or later. Right. My map, Lassie, in that pocket there. Lassie, come back here. I might get away without my waterproof trousers. So we'll put my socks on now. Because we're literally ready to get out. Like I said, the forecast was indicating possibly dry. Let's see. I think what I'll do is I'm going to put my waterproof trousers in, and it just saves me the hassle of having to fiddle with things once I'm outside. Right, when you come out, it's obviously very chilly. So what you can do, just to try and help a little bit, is once you kind of come out and you've got a lot done, find your inner, if you've got a ground sheet, if you've got a separate ground sheet, once you've got everything out, do your ground sheet inside, because then you're back into some semblance of warmth. At least you're out of that cold anyway. And of course earlier on you took the pegs out, so as much as you can do inside the better. Now my hands are damp and it's really difficult to get them into these Pertex. That's why I really don't like gloves with liners. Whereas if you have, you know, a simple glove, even if they're difficult to get on, you can at least get them on. So by coming back undercover, we've put the ground sheet away. Roll your foam mat up and just secure your foam mat somewhere. Again, That's another very good use of Lass's pack, is to secure a foam mat underneath it. We're just going to collapse the Trailstar down, put it in its stuff sack, and that's going to go obviously in the pack. I'm not going to record it because I think my hands are going to get quite cold and damp doing it. So basically I'm going to get that done and get walking. I should have kept another pair of gloves out, and like I said, I can't get my fingers in those rab synthetic stupid things, so that's why I don't like those. I packed my other ones. So well, we've worked our way steadily down William Clough. Most of the pathways are pretty much flooded, so you're going to get pretty damp on this walk. I've seen some people still going up. I'm going to grab my poles and carry on down now. The going is a little bit easier. It's very, very wet underfoot. You know, nearly all the paths are flooded. I don't know if you've ever seen, I'm sure you have seen more water than this, the regulars, but you see here, it kind of, the path is slightly to the right, but you've still got to partly go in the water to come along the path, and the path kind of goes half up and half along there, so you kind of pick your medicine really. We'll take the high road. I got a feeling coming out we took the low road and somehow navigated, and I actually think that's probably an easier way of doing it, certainly in the other direction. The first thing I did once I had my pack on was I kept these light gloves on, which were, like I said, they weren't wet, but they were slightly damp. Thankfully it stopped raining long enough ago that the Trailstar had dried out, you know, quite a bit. It was quite dry when I put it away. Not completely, but not too bad. So once I got walking, I put my over mitts over these, which is basically, it's just a Gore-Tex, lightweight Gore-Tex over mitt. They're light. I think it's an extremities or something like that. They're light, there's nothing in them. They're not designed for warmth, they're designed for keeping rain out, or in this instance keeping the wind out, and basically, you know, helping I wonder whether it was okay coming up that, but I don't know about going I don't know about going down that. Let's go and have a look up here and see whether it's any easier, because you can see the path just down there, so if it's not, then we'll have to, oh yeah, maybe there's some easier steps here. I don't mind going up those things, but I'm not so good at going down them. I like little easy baby steps. That worked out okay. So able to keep talking. Yeah, so for about 10, 15, 20 minutes, you know that tingly feeling that you get in your fingers when they start to warm up and it's really uncomfortable. Well, I had that feeling quite quickly once I started walking, because obviously my body warmth was spreading to my fingers, and of course the overmitt was helping to keep the warmth in, so it helped my fingers to warm up quickly and efficiently. I mean, not too quickly, but I think my fingers would still be very cold if I hadn't put those overmitts on. So they're definitely worth having in your arsenal. So we're making our way down, and of course it's going to be that thing where we're crossing the river, brook, stream, water thing a load of times. But water coming off that hill there, very, very wet up there. So luckily we had a superb spot. There was no moisture on it at all. It was perfect. Anyway, we're gonna carry on walking. Obviously I come up here occasionally now. I'll probably try and get up here a little bit more. You know, I've been up to the lakes a few times. I'm hoping to get over to the Brecons next week, or not next week, but in a few weeks' time, walking with someone else. So, you know, we're kind of doing we're branching out into different things. I've seen several people, the time is 2:30, bearing in mind that it's going to be dark in 2 hours. I've seen several people going past me in the last half hour or so, and I did ask one young couple, you know, are they planning on crossing and coming down the other side? And they said yes. I said, look, have you got a head torch? Yes. You got a map and compass? Yes. I said, okay, well, just go careful. It's very windy up there, and you've although it's less windy today than it has been the last couple of days, I think. So I just gave them a friendly, you know, not warning, but I just said, you know, be careful, because you've got 2 hours of daylight left, so just keep an eye on your time. But at least they had a map and a torch anyway. And I just passed some more people now who didn't really look equipped for climbing up, and they're not going up. In fact, they even said it's too late to go up, which indeed. Anyway, there's not really much else to say in this video other than, if you have managed to get this far, you know, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.